I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Thursday morning, October 31st, a very spooky meeting today. Board of County Commissioners meeting. Right off the bat, just apologize for the delay. We have some audio-visual difficulties, so we'll be working through those, but I hope that everyone can hear us, and hopefully everyone at home can hear us as well. So my name is Andy Hunthausen. To my left, Commissioner Tom Rolfe. Good morning.
Good morning, Commissioner.
Brandi Spangler's over here further to the left. She'll be taking care of us today. Thank you, Brandi. To my right is Elvis, or Candace Payne, Commissioner Candace Payne. Good morning.
Good morning.
And Nico Hash, Keegan Shea, Deputy County Attorneys. Good morning, gentlemen. And Roger Baltz, our Chief Administrative Officer. Good morning. There is a sign-in sheet in the front as well as agendas. Please sign in prior to leaving today so we have a good record of who's attended our public meeting. Thank you very much. And we're going to start off with a very special proclamation this morning, and I'm going to turn it over to Commissioner Rolfe to lead us through this. Commissioner Rolfe, good morning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's with a great deal of pride and pleasure that I offer this proclamation supporting Operation Greenlight for veterans. And I'm going to read it. I'd like for you to know that this is a project that is supported wholly by the National Association of Counties, and it's something that we've been proclamation that we've been doing for several years here in Lewis and Clark County. This is an important recognition of the people who have stood up for us all over the world, protecting our freedoms, and it's a real pleasure to be able to do this. Here's our proclamation. Lewis and Clark County Proclamation supporting Operation Greenlight for veterans. Whereas the residents of Lewis and Clark County have great respect, admiration, and the utmost gratitude for all of the men and women who have selflessly served our country and this community in the armed forces. And whereas the contributions and sacrifices of the men and women who served in the armed forces have been vital in maintaining the freedoms and way of life enjoyed by our citizens. And whereas Lewis and Clark County seeks to honor these individuals who have paid the high price for freedom by placing themselves in harm's way for the good of all, and whereas veterans continue to serve our community in the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, religious groups, civil service, and by functioning as county veteran service officers in 29 states to help fellow former service members access billions of dollars in federal health, disability, and compensation benefits each year. And whereas approximately 200,000 service members transition to civilian communities annually, and whereas an estimated 20% of service members will transition to civilian life in the near future, and whereas studies indicate that a high percentage of service members experience high levels of stress during transition from military to civilian life, and whereas active military service members transitioning from military service are at a high risk for suicide during the first year after military service, and whereas the National Association of Counties urges all counties, parishes, and boroughs to recognize Operation Greenlight for veterans, and whereas Lewis and Clark County appreciates the sacrifices of our United States military personnel and believes specific recognition should be granted, now therefore be it proclaimed, with designation as Greenlight for Veterans County, Lewis and Clark County hereby declares for November 4 through November 11th, 2024, a time to salute and honor the service and sacrifice of our men and women in uniform transitioning from active service. Therefore, be it further proclaimed that in observance of Operation Greenlight, Lewis and Clark County encourages its citizens in patriotic tradition to recognize the importance of honoring all those who made immeasurable sacrifices to preserve freedom by displaying a green light in the window of their place of business or residence. Dated this 31st day of October 2024, Lewis and Clark County Board of Commissioners.
Commissioner, thank you very much. And I think before we go further, maybe just a round of applause for our veterans. And thank you. Please continue.
And what I noticed in my neighborhood, one of my neighbors has already got his green lights up now, and he beat me this year. We kind of compete on who gets it up first, and we try to leave them on all of November to recognize our veterans. And we ask other people in our community to join us. You can pick up the green lights at local hardware stores or online, and have them here in plenty of time to help with the celebration. And we thank you, veterans. We've got some representatives of veterans here right now. Would any of you like to say anything?
More than welcome.
And if you just announce your name and
oh, turn on the green light there. Thank you, Ray.
There we go. I'm Raymond Reed, and I'm a veteran, Vietnam veteran, and I live here in the county. I had a question, and you answered it. Where do you get the green lights? But the second thing I wanted to let everybody know is we just got a statistic from the National that between 2001 and today, we have lost 7,000 members through combat, but we've lost 131,000 through suicide. That's a very sobering thing. So be the one, that's our motto, be the one to stop that suicide. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray.
Appreciate it.
And we'd like to invite those of you who are veterans to come forward. We'll present you with the original of this proclamation, and we'd like to get a picture with you.
All the way up here in the front would be great.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
This is on?
I think it's the green light on there.
Yeah, it's on.
If you'd
Okay.
introduce yourself for the record, that'd be grand. Thank you.
I'm John Jackson, and I'm not a Vietnam veteran. I'm a Vietnam era veteran. I joined when I was a senior in high school. Spent a little over 39 years with the military, active Army and Army National Guard here in Montana. And I was so proud when my two boys both joined the Army National Guard here in Montana without even asking me, or I didn't even know it. They came home and said, "Dad, we're now members." And I was very, very proud of them. My oldest son, which is kind of hard to accept, he's going to retire next year in February with 30 years of service. And my younger son is just now being trained to become a warrant officer, and so he'll be in the Guards for a long time. And but it's so proud to be a military. My brother was in the military. He was drafted. Did not go to Vietnam, but he was drafted. My dad could not serve because of his eyes, nor did my grandfather or my great-grandfather, but I am related to a man by the name of Stonewall Jackson. He's a distant cousin. So we got veterans in our whole family going a long, long ways back. And I'm very, very glad to be a member of the veterans. I'm a member of the VFW, American Legion, and always glad to recognize and salute veterans and thank them for their service, because it takes a lot, not just on the veteran, but also the family. When you consider what the families go through, a lot of people don't really understand that. And I watch right now as my youngest son's wife, she's home. There's 2 young daughters, sophomores in high school. She's raising alone right now while he's gone. And she's probably one of the best military wives I've ever been around, ever met. But don't ever forget the families and the sacrifices they go through when that service member, be it a man or a woman, is away. My oldest boy has deployed 3 times. My younger boy's deployed twice. And my younger boy will probably deploy again the way things are going. So, but thank you for doing this. Thank you for the proclamation. And thank you for your support of the green light.
Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Appreciate it very much. And all of the veterans here today, you're telling stories. You reminded me as well. We probably all have stories, but my father was a World War II veteran and was wounded on the march to Berlin the same day that Roosevelt passed in April 12th, 1945. And I remember all of my life. He was a great guy, but I remember him being challenged by those experiences all of his life, and kind of brings me tears. But great guy, but man, the sacrifices were large. So anyway, thank you, Commissioner, very much. Anything else, Commissioners, you'd like to share?
I'd say you bring some memories, because my dad was a Marine in the South Pacific during World War II, and he was on just off of Okinawa, staging for the invasion of Japan when they dropped the atomic bomb and the war was over. And he was scheduled to be on the 3rd wave of the invasion. I talked to former Supreme Court Justice Harrison. He was a planner at the Pentagon for the invasion of Japan, and they were expecting 10 years or 10 waves to get a strong beachhead to take in order to do that. So that atomic bomb probably, without that, I probably wouldn't be here.
Commissioner.
I too am the child of a World War II veteran. My dad had PTSD his entire life. We did not shoot off fireworks. As a matter of fact, the 4th of July, that whole week, we were out at the ranch putting up hay, so we didn't have to listen to the neighbors either. But the veterans I have talked to and their families, when our community allows everybody to shoot off fireworks anytime from the 15th of June through the 15th of August to show their patriotism, this seems to me a smack in the eye to those veterans who are suffering with PTSD. I'm really mad about this. The state law allows us to control fireworks within the city of Helena. I live outside of the city of Helena, and the fireworks start out there, and I know we have veterans living out there, and I would really like to do something about it. Counties are not allowed to regulate fireworks. State law, Montana Code Annotated. So if you guys were working on veterans issues, I think it may seem like a small thing when it compared to all the other things that they need, but that is one thing that seems very simple. If we could allow, and it doesn't have to be statewide, but if we could allow certain counties, like Lewis and Clark, this could be a quiet zone. We've got a veterans hospital out there. We've got lots of veterans. They need this protection, and the county commissioners can't do it. The state legislature has to do it. And just give the authority to the counties, and then we can make up our minds for our own people. There, I will get off my little stump now.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay, anything else? Thank you, Commissioner Rolfe, for organizing the proclamation, and thank you to our veterans who were here today. Appreciate you very much, and we will move on. All right. The next item on our agenda are consent action items. I'll turn it over to Mr. Baltz.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and Commissioners. This is item 3 on your agenda. The first item is item 3A, public meeting minutes for October 17 and 22, 2024. Staff recommends approval. Item 3B is Resolution 2024-114, declaring county property surplus property, and staff recommends approval of that item as well. Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions on the consent action items? Any questions? How about public comment? Any public comment on the consent action items? Any public comment? Hearing none. Commissioners, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the consent action items 3A and 3B as presented by Roger Baltz.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Moved and seconded to approve consent action items 3A and B as presented. Further discussion, Commissioners? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. Next item on the agenda is a bid opening for the Sun Canyon Load and Haul. Maybe you describe that for us after you introduce yourself. Thank you.
Good morning, Chairman Hunt Housing Commissioners. I'm Audra Zacherl, Assistant Director of Public Works. This morning we have a bid opening for the solicitation for the construction of the Sun Canyon Load and Haul project. This project consists of loading and hauling approximately 20,000 tons of county-owned gravel that we have stockpiled on private property up in Augusta to the Sun Canyon Road. This morning we have 3 bids to open. So this first bid appears to be from Stevens, Hay, and Cattle of Corvallis, Montana. Okay, the bid appears to be fully complete. The addendum has been acknowledged. The bid has been submitted by Stevens, Hay, and Cattle, LLC of Corvallis, Montana. The bid amount per unit is $4.40 per ton for an extended price of $88,000. Okay, the second bid that I will open is from Valley Sand and Gravel of Helena, Montana. Okay, this bid appears to be fully complete. The addendum has been acknowledged. The bid price is $5.25 per ton for a total extended price of $105,000. All right, this final bid that I'll be opening this morning is from Top Gun Construction. Okay, the bid appears to be fully complete. There are some inconsistencies with how it's been submitted. Bid security has been included. The addendum has been acknowledged. the bid submittal format just does not appear to have been followed, but I don't know if that's going to make a difference. We'll leave that up to the committee when it's reviewed. It is from Top Gun Construction of Stevensville, Montana. I did not wear my glasses. There's a lot of numbers on here that I'm not sure how they're part of the bid, but I will just read the total at the bottom for this one. It says $79,458.91. Staff would like to take these bids under advisement, review them thoroughly, and return on Thursday, November 14th, with a recommendation for award.
Thank you very much. And just for explanation for those that are here today and watching on, maybe watching on TV, all bids that the county considers are opened in a public setting. So none of us know anything about them until we open them in a public setting. And then, as Zacherl was just describing, they're each a little bit different. And from the first glance, it looks like everything's there. But what we do then is we ask a committee to be formed, and these bids are all taken under advisement to make sure that they meet the criteria of the request, as well as law and all of those kinds of things. They have to meet all of the criteria, and then that committee will make a recommendation about which bid, if any, that we may accept and move forward on. So on the 14th is what is being requested. They'll come back with a recommendation. So today is just the bid opening. Those bids will be studied, and then a recommendation will come back to the commission for consideration. Just want to describe how the process works for everyone. Commissioners, any questions at this point? Is there any public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing none. Commissioners, is there a motion to ask staff to take the bids under advisement, make a recommendation to this commission on November 14th at our regularly scheduled meeting?
Mr. Chairman, I so move.
Second.
Moved and seconded to take the bids under advisement and return on the 14th with a recommendation. Further discussion, commissioners? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. We have a bid award today. This bid award is for Augusta Gravel is the title, and I'm sure Mr. Horne will describe that to us. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Commissioner Rolfe, good morning. Commissioner Payne, good morning to you as well, madam. My name is Kevin Horne. Spelling on that is first name Kevin, K-E-V-I-N. Last name is Horne, H-O-R-N-E. I'm the operations manager for Lewis and Clark County's Public Works Department. Mr. Chair, Commissioners, today's topic is item number 5 on today's agenda. It is entitled Bid Award for Augusta. On October 17, 2024, 2 bids were opened for the Augusta gravel procurement. The Road Division is soliciting an estimated 12,000 tons of 1.25" minus top surfacing gravel to be stockpiled by June 30th, 2025, within a 10-mile radius of the intersection of Sun Canyon and Bar Creek Roads in Augusta, Montana. The material will be loaded and transported and placed to the work site by Augusta road crews. Funding for this material is budgeted in fiscal year 25 Road Infrastructure Fund. After review of the bids, staff recommends awarding the bid to Valley Sand and Gravel LLC of Helena, Montana for a unit price per ton of $7.80, not to exceed $93,600, and we authorize the chair to sign any applicable contract documents. And as always, Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Mr. Horne. Commissioners, questions about this bid award recommendation? All right, thank you. Mr. Horne, I guess just for the public interest and education, we go through these processes and we're trying to stockpile gravel in Augusta for next construction season, essentially. And what might the public see done with that gravel, or what are some of the projects that we'll see completed via?
Mr. Chairman, very good question. Currently, we have a contract up there for crushing that's starting right now. They're actually mobilizing in. There's 20,000 ton that's going to be crushed up there. That's for the lower 6 miles of Sun Canyon Road. About 4 or 5 years ago, we put together a maintenance agenda for that road. As you recall, we received some federal land access program grant money a couple years back for the upper 6 miles. Our crews did the middle 6 miles, so the last remaining part of Sun Canyon Road itself, that 18-mile corridor, is the lower 6 miles from the transfer station, the Augusta transfer station, to about the Hat Ranch. That will be completed in the spring. This additional gravel is for various roads that haven't been determined yet within the Augusta area. Some of it could be for some alley work, maybe a little bit on benchmark. It's more for a need for our operators up there for spot loads, if you will.
Right, great. And then one more question. Some people who might be watching today would say, oh, I'm a little confused. How is the last item different from this item and last item on the agenda, which was the bid opening for the Sun Canyon Load and Haul? Maybe just to describe that, so in case there's some confusion.
Very good question, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, we've already done the procurement on the 20,000 tons of gravel supply. The stuff that Audra read today on the load and haul is we already own the material. We solicited to hire a contractor with some major trucking power to haul upwards of 2,000 tons a day to our crews for placement. So that is what the load and haul is on that lower section, that lower 6 mile section of Sun Canyon.
Great, thank you for that description. Anything else, commissioners, that you, any questions for Mr. Horne related to this recommended award, bid award? How about public comment on this item? Any public comment on this item? Okay. Is there a motion, please, commissioners? This would be to award the bid to Helena Sand and Gravel for a total price not to exceed $93,600.
Excuse me, I think we need a correction. Did you say Valley Sand and Gravel, or did you say Helena Sand and Gravel?
Valley Sand and Gravel.
I know that's what you meant, but I'm not
That's
sure.
what I said.
Okay.
Valley Sand and Gravel.
And, got to keep you on your toes. Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the bid award for the Augusta gravel as presented by Kevin Horne.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Moved and seconded to approve the bid award as presented by Mr. Horne to Valley Sand and Gravel. Commissioners, any further discussion? Thank you, Mr. Horne. Really appreciate the explanation as well and the education. It's always good to give a little extra so that the community understands what we're up to. Thanks. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda is amendment number 1 to task order number 5 between Lewis and Clark County and RESPEC. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. For the record, I'm Dan Karlin, County Engineer. Before you today is amendment number 1 to task order number 5 with RESPEC to perform construction engineering services and design modifications for the lower D2 project. The amended scope of work now includes construction administration tasks such as facilitating the pre-construction meeting, reviewing and improving submittals, reviewing and responding to RFIs or requests for information, bi-weekly construction progress meetings, technical oversight and documentation, as-built drawing review, and floodplain administration. It also includes design modifications to the Glass Drive number 1 crossing to prepare for the future installation of the remaining 2 crossings. The amendment is for time and materials not to exceed $30,577 and increases the total value of task order number 5 to $214,962. It is funded through the American Rescue Plan Act grant. Staff recommends the Board of County Commissioners approve amendment number 1 to task order number 5 with RESPEC Engineering in the amount of $30,577 with an updated contract end date of June 15th, 2025, and authorize the chair to sign. And as always, I can answer questions you may have.
So, Mr. Karlin, right off the bat, thank you very much first. I completely understand what you were talking about because I've been part of the scoop here for a long time, but as always, I'm trying to think about someone who might be watching today that has no idea what we're talking about, or someone in the audience has no idea what we're talking about. So just the overall project, just a 30-second, 1-minute deal on what we're doing here and why this fits, how this fits. please.
Certainly, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. So the Lower D2 project is project number 2, technically, of our flood mitigation master plan. That project was awarded a couple weeks ago, several weeks ago. Our notice to proceed is actually been issued, and they're beginning work on Monday. This project is essentially installation of several box culverts in replacement of several much smaller steel culverts to increase the capacity of the structures along the D2 ditch.
And the D2 ditch is the big ditch that goes across the middle of the Helena Valley and heads for Lake Helena.
Mr.
those that
Chair,
don't know where
Commissioners,
that is.
that is correct.
Great. So it's part of our flood mitigation master plan and trying to make sure water passes through the valley more efficiently during a flood event. And this is a big year for this project. So thank you very much. Commissioners, any questions? How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? Thank you very much, Mr. Karlin. Commissioners, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve amendment number 1 to task order number 5 between Lewis and Clark County and RESPEC, as explained by Mr. Karlin.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the amendment as presented. Further discussion, Commissioners? Further discussion? Thank you. Can't wait to see the work on the ground. Looking forward to it. Okay. All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. All right. Next item on the agenda is a memorandum of understanding between Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office and the Augusta Fire District. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, and good morning to the other commissioners. My name is Elio Dutton, D-U-T-T-O-N. I'm the sheriff, coroner, fire warden, and whatever else gets shipped my way. I'm here to talk about a memorandum of understanding between the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office and the Augusta Rural Fire District. By way of background, the station up in Augusta where we had kind of a detention, it was a detention center. It ended up flooding twice, and being in a flood zone, that the costly repairs were just going to eat us up. So we worked with all of you to say we need a new home. And we initially had money for a new building, but apparently that money went into a renovated detention center. So we did not build a new building, but we needed a new home. We worked with the Augusta Fire Department or the Fire District for a rental of their space. They did rent, and we do have an agreement that expires soon, in November, first week of November. We want to renew that. They looked at it, they being the board of the Augusta Fire, and said, we thought this was more short-term. They had initially said $50 a month because they thought they were helping us out in a pinch, and then realized that it's more long-term. They have a bathroom facilities there. We pay for our own telecommunications connections, those kind of things. So they raised the rent to what their board finally agreed to was $400 a month, and they thought that was commiserate to what their expenses are. We're in a tight spot. We don't have any other choice, but we appreciate their cooperation in doing so. So the item before you, the only change has been to the price and to the extension of 2024 to 2028. We've all reviewed it and looked at it. So I present it to you and ask the chair to sign the contract or the memorandum of understanding so we can keep having a substation for the deputy and those who respond. As you'll note in there, during rodeos, things like that, we do use their area. When I say their area, their classroom area for shift briefings. We do take people who have been arrested to the area, but they are continually monitored. They're not just dropped off at the fire station, where before we did have a holding facility. Now we just hold on to them. We don't like to drive all the way back to Helena. We try to find someone to bond them out which we have a bond schedule with the judges. The facility is secure. The room that we have, all the criminal justice information is secure, and then their building is locked up. So it meets the FBI code or requirement that we have all of that information behind locked doors and keep it that way. So nothing has really changed other than the money and the dates. So I'll be around for any questions if you have them, but I'd ask that you sign it so we still have a home. Thank you.
Thank you, Sheriff, Coroner, Fire Warden. Stay there. There might be a question. Any questions, Commissioners? Just a recognition, I guess. This has been a good partnership with the Fire District, and I think we've worked well together. From my brief interactions with some of the members, they welcome the Sheriff's Office presence in their facility, and so I'm glad they're working out a longer term, or the next phase, I guess, the next term of this partnership. It's been good.
Yes.
That-
Eventually, we would like to build our own building, but that's going to require planning, saving, all kinds of things, or the opportunity that we have other funds, but it's not going to be something in the immediate future. But there is some county land up there that possibly we could do that, but that's going to be in the future. This is, as you said, is a good partnership. They have a building, they have a little room that we can use, and it works out.
Great, thank you, Sheriff. Any other questions? Please, Commissioner Rolfe.
Just an observation. I just think this is an example of communities working together to solve problems. We've got a separately elected sheriff who's responsible for providing peace and security for our people, and a separate board of separately elected board of county commissioners that are oversee the budgets for our county offices, and a third entity, the separately elected board of the Augusta Fire District, all working together, cooperating to solve a problem and make things work better. And I think this is the way government's supposed to work. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you. Any other questions?
No.
How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay, hearing no public comment. Commissioners, is there a motion on the memorandum of understanding?
Mr. Chairman, I move that we approve the memorandum of understanding between Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office and the Augusta Fire District as presented by Sheriff Leo Dutton.
Second, Mr. Chair.
Moved and seconded to approve the MOU as presented. Further discussion, Commissioners? Just to thank you, Sheriff, for working it out with them, and appreciate bringing it to us today. All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, we move on. Next item on our agenda is a grant application to the NRA Foundation. Good morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. My name is Chris Rebo. I'm a deputy sheriff with the Sheriff's Office. I'm also one of the lead firearms instructors for our program. I'm here this morning to ask you to consider our desire to submit an application for a grant to the NRA Foundation for the Montana NRA grant in the amount of up to $140,000 with no matching funds required. The grant period begins February 1, 2025 through November 1, 2025. The grant funds would be used to purchase 50 rifles, 50 suppressors, as well as optics and lights for the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office.
Thank you. Questions, Commissioners? Any questions?
I've got,
Please.
just because I want to know, talk to me about the 50 lights for the Lewis and Clark County Sheriff's Office. Are those really for the office, or are they for the vehicles, or?
Those lights are weapon-mounted lights, so they go on the rifles.
Okay.
In order to help us identify any potential people that we're interacting with in those kinds of situations.
Excellent. Thank you for explaining that.
Good question. Okay. Thank you very much. And just, I'll just explain. grant applications, grant awards, they all come to this meeting. So just for those public that might be watching, any requests for dollars to come into the county, any dollars that do come into the county, we bring them all through a public meeting in the county commission so that everything is on the surface and above board and public. So that's why we're doing this today. So even grant applications, we typically bring them through here and start the process that way so the public has opportunity to participate. So thank you very much. Okay, how about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? All right, hearing none. Commissioners, is there a motion on the grant application?
Mr. Chairman, I would move to approve the grant application to the NRA Foundation for rifles up to $140,000, as explained by Officer Rebo.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the grant application as presented. Further discussion, Commissioners? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. All right, next item on the agenda is a grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Department of Environmental Quality. Good morning.
Good morning. Mr. Chair, members of the Commission, I'm Beth Norberg. I'm the Lewis and Clark Public Health Department's Environmental Program Manager. And today I have before you a grant task order for Lewis and Clark County Septic System Inventory Program between the Montana Department of Environmental Quality and the Lewis and Clark Public Health. These funds total $230,500 for the period between grant execution and December 31st, 2027. The purpose of this grant is to address excess pollutant contributions to ground and surface waters in Lewis and Clark County through the completion of a septic system inventory and the identification of environmentally sensitive priority areas for septic system replacement and connection to municipal services. This project will provide technical and financial resources for long-term solutions for aging and failing septic systems. We will use these funds to hire a subcontractor to complete the inventory and make recommendations for areas where replacement or connection of aging systems should be prioritized to address pollutant contributions to ground and surface waters. And staff recommends approval.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Ms. Norberg, we don't get to see you that often anymore.
I know.
A little while, and I'm excited about this opportunity because of and I want to just talk about it a little bit. Yep. So we have an opportunity here to blow your horn. I think you're one of our superstars in our county family and doing such great work. So we have, I don't know, it's been more than a decade now that we've been really trying to develop a program of understanding where our on-site, our septic systems are, what kind of shape they're in, and making sure that people get educated about their own septic systems and then do our best to encourage them to maintain their septic system. So this looks like to me as part of that entire package. The better we know where they are, the better we know what kind of condition they're in, the better we can get them repaired, replaced, whatever, and protect our groundwater, protect our surface water. So maybe I summed it up there, but can you just talk a little bit about the last and the overall experience and what we're trying to do here?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, members of the Commission. Yes, this is very exciting for us because it will give us a grasp, a much better grasp on not only how many septic systems, not just a count, which we have a quote-unquote idea, but to really understand where they're located, what kind of septic system they are, how old they are. So if someone were to say, especially now that the city and county is engaging in their joint infrastructure study, for us to be able to say in this area, we have this high density of septic systems and they're this old and they're this type, maybe they're not probably something we would permit today, that helps us drive decisions about especially how we address operation and maintenance of these systems in Lewis and Clark County. So it will drive our decision-making on especially, because we do have regulations in our local regulations, our county septic regulations for the operation and maintenance of septic systems. This helps drive those future decisions and how that program needs to be administered in the future. So we're really excited for that. And also to build a living document too. This is not intended to be a count of septic systems that sits on a shelf in a report. The idea is to be able to take, as systems are permitted, as they're put in the ground, to be able to add to that, and then be able to look at trends and, where we're going in the county, especially with the growth we have.
Well, that living document is super important going forward, and it has all kinds of ancillary benefits in that if we essentially had a map of where systems are right now, you go out, and there might be people that have septic systems say, well, it's somewhere on my property. I have no idea where it is. I mean, it was 50 years ago, and I'm the 5th owner, or whatever it might be. So not only where they are, the condition they're in, but then all that information will be public and usable. So if I'm a realtor, for example, and I'm trying to help someone buy a home in the Helena Valley, I can show them, here's your system, here's how old it is, here's the last time it was pumped, here's all the conditions right now, or in the past. Right now, we're getting pretty close, but in the past, it's like, well, you have a septic system. Hope you find it. Good luck. Here, sell you this, help you buy this house or sell this house. So this really gives great information for those partners, if you will, in the community, even those that are loaning money on, or people are trying to borrow money now. They're getting asked a lot more questions than they used to. And like how and what condition and what kind of liability am I as a banker taking on to loan you this money? So all of that's great information.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioners. Yes, we right now, we have actually a pretty sizable workload of just working with realtors and other partners of, they constantly come to us. Where's the septic system? What is the condition? What should we do? We're buying this property. This will actually be a tool to be more transparent, but also it might maybe decrease our workload in a way, to be more efficient. So we can focus really on a lot of the things we need to.
And it's something people don't think about. I, as a system owner out there, I love when I get my notice, hey, it's time to get your system inspected and potentially pumped. So I get a hold of someone and they come. So thank you for the work you do. Questions, Commissioner?
Question, if I might. You say you've been working on this for some time. Do you have an idea of what percentage of the systems you currently have mapped?
Oh, yes, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Commissioner. No, we don't, in terms of mapping, how many we have mapped, no. We can throw a dot, we can take our permitting database and throw a dot on a map. And that will give us a general good idea, and we do have that. We do have that set, but it doesn't really tell us much. It'll tell us a permit number, so someone could always call and say, hey, can I get this septic permit and look at it? But to be able to extract that information of, to run reports on the age, the type of septic system, is it just a standard gravity system? Is it a pit in the ground? Is it a advanced level 2 treatment unit? Giving us more of that information, but also being able to extrapolate it, to look at trends, to look at the things we need to look at. So right now it's just kind of a static, yep, there's a system there, but we don't have all of them, especially our unpermitted septic systems. So we started permitting systems in 1973. We still have a lot that are those original before 1973 that we just don't really know anything about. So it will help us address those as well. And then maybe find some of those that might be violating something.
Along your question line, though, that what has been beneficial, though, is that, again, me as a homeowner out there, saying, hey, you're part of a septic maintenance district now. Do you know where your system is? Right. And have you taken care of it? Right. And we're requiring you to take care of it. It's made people go out and find their systems and determine what kind of shape they're in and how often they've. So there's more of that happening in the community out there, but it'll be great for us to have that, as you call it, database, if you will, of information that would be helpful, really understanding the full picture. So thanks. Good question. Anything else? No. Commissioner, anything else? Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay. How about public comment on this item? Any public comment? Any public comment? Okay. Hearing none. Commissioners, is there a motion, please?
Mr. Chair, I would move to approve the grant award to Lewis and Clark Public Health from the Department of Environmental Department of Environmental Quality, as explained by Ms. Norberg.
Second.
Moved and seconded to approve the grant award as presented. Further discussion, Commissioners? Beth, thank you very much. Really appreciate it. I'm really looking forward to the results of this grant funding. Thanks. All right, all in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Thank you very much. All right, we have come to that time in our meeting where we will take public comment on any item that is under the jurisdiction of the commission but not on today's agenda. Is there any public comment? Any public comment? Any public comment? Commissioners, hearing none, thank you very much for a great meeting. We will stand adjourned.